20,000 satellites falling to Earth could be worse than nuclear war. We don't know the number of films and books portray such a situation, yet losing the entirety of the world's satellites in a solitary blow is something science fiction journalists appear to be truly worried about. What's more, most likely so should we, given how it's thanks to some extent to satellites that we can appreciate a ton of things in this world. Mir space station over a large portion of 1 million bits of man-made space trash circumnavigating the Earth. Google Maps screenshot Starlink satellites orbiting satellites. In the vast majority of these compositions, satellites going disconnected and afterward the resulting commotion on Earth is all that occurs. Be that as it may, imagine a scenario in which these bits of human-made equipment didn't remain in circle, however head down to Earth out of the blue. It is a theoretical circumstance considered by the folks over at What If for their latest Judgment Day situation. 20,000 satellites taken out by an undefined fiasco, descending upon the planet. The number is a gauge, obviously. The Union of Concerned Scientists, UCS, indeed, there is something like this, says there are near 3,400 satellites in a functioning state and another 3,000 or something like that just space garbage. Yet, the fact of the matter is nobody knows the number of truly are up there, given all the mystery that encompasses military space activities. Regardless the genuine number is, it's large, and it will settle the score greater since SpaceX is working together in circle. That would be around 20,000 of them after Starlink is completely functional, and an enormous number of items tumbling rational would be quite a great deal more awful than the 100 tons of residue and sand-sized particles that hit the environment of our planet every day. Also, there are a few purposes behind that. First would be the way that satellites are significantly bigger than the residue and sand that make up those 100 tons. That would make them somewhat harder to be obliterated by our environment, and a great deal of them, difficult to say the number of, would get past basically unblemished. Then, at that point, a decent piece would fall into seas, given how our planet is one huge waterway, while others would hit land, perhaps even possessed regions. While they do this, the world as far as we might be concerned would end, as the vast majority of the things we get for conceded would quit working. No more web, no more TV, and, most hazardously, no more GPS. Not for vehicles, bicycles, planes, anything. What's more, that is not even the most hazardous part. That would be the atomic-fueled satellites still up there, around 30 of them, everything except one of Russian make, as per Business Insider. On the off chance that these endure the air, and regardless of whether they don't, it's basically game over, given all the radiation they can give out. What amount of radiation? Indeed, think about this. Back in 1978, the failing Soviet Cosmos 954 satellite dispersed trash over northern Canada, on a space of 124,000 square km, 48,000 square miles, in size. It took the Canadians 4 months to clear the region, and they discovered 12 enormous bits of satellite, 10 of which radioactive. One of these pieces had huge enough levels to kill an individual if that individual had been in touch with it for a couple of hours. Getting going at the reason that a large number of the satellites tumbling down would be radioactive. What If says toward the finish, all things considered, that Earth would seem as though it had been hit by a great many nukes. That's presumably not the situation. However, in the event that something like this were to happen, it would most likely not be useful for anybody. Fortunately, the odds of the relative multitude of satellites tumbling down are probably nothing. Furthermore, regardless of whether they did, their various elevations would mean they would tumble down leisurely, giving us enough time down here to plan and blow them out of orbit.